Welcome to the Freelance Unlocked Behind the Scenes series, where I'm showcasing the amazing people who will be at a Freelance Unlocked Conference, the first and the best conference for freelancers that it made with love, and it'll take place in Berlin on May 14th, 15th, 2025. If you are a freelancer in Europe, it's an event made for you to learn, exchange experiences, and build your network of great freelancers and experts who move the freelance economy forward. So go to freelanceunlocked.com and grab your ticket right away. My name is Yuri. I'm a community builder at Freelance Unlocked, and my guest is Thomas Schönweitz, the founder and CEO of Whitespring, an innovation consultancy with over 2 decades of experience that helps drive success in the social economy sector. So, hello, Thomas.
Hi, Yuri. Thanks for having me.
Super happy to meet you, even before the conference, even before the in-person, real-life part. So tell me, how are you connected with the freelance world?
Well, basically, I guess like most people or a lot of people started out as freelancer, solopreneur, and I've kind of stayed that way for a very long time. We've recently started expanding a bit. I've had freelancers working with me kind of semi-permanently over the years, but we've always been very small and nimble, and I've always enjoyed the flexibility. In particular, I mean, if you look at 2000, COVID for most recently, I guess, I've talked to a lot of people that worked in larger companies and agencies, and they really had problems and struggled. We actually did really well because we were, very flexible also with our clients. We did keep work. We did keep all the freelancers that we were working with, and it's just less overhead. So
some freelancers starting and then they're stopping, they're coming back to full time. So I'm curious, what keeps you going?
I come from a background of self-employed people, so I think all of my uncles and my parents it's all been self-employed people. So I don't actually see myself as a freelancer in the classic sense, where you go to a company and you just work for one company for X amount of time. But Whitespring started as a platform to help other freelancers kind of connect, get together, and kind of, if you want to say, like, represent and just be a bit more stable. And that's worked really well over the years. And it just, that's what we've been doing over the last, almost 20 years.
So give me a sneak peek into what you'll be talking about on the Freelance Unlocked stage.
So what we're seeing, so I have a background in organizational development, change management, systemic coaching, and psychology. And so what we're seeing is that freelancing, and in particular in the current climate, is and can be very stressful. So I'm talking to a lot of friends that are like, well, work's not coming, and there's different reasons for this. And it's not just about the work or not having work. So what I want to do is kind of give some ideas, some tips and tricks, and maybe some tools as well, and models that will help you guide through some stressful moments, and just kind of give you an idea like, hey, you're not alone in this. There is ways around this, and kind of watch out for these few things that might impact your mental health, not just in the short term, but actually in the long term. And before we started the recording, we were briefly talking about kind of maximizing personal potential. And I think it is also a thing to kind of build yourself and build expertise, and expertise also in yourself and in your capacity to become a better freelancer, scale, grow, turn into a larger business than just a freelancer maybe.
Yeah, freelancing is totally a roller coaster. Sometimes you feel like on top of the world, everything is great, and sometimes you feel like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, can I fall even lower? So, what are some common psychological traps that freelancers are falling into?
Well, I think one has to do maybe with self-worth. So we very much connect our self-worth with our work and the recognition that we get from a client. I would say freelancers very much work on individual and single projects. You're not involved usually in 10 projects at the same time. So you get very attached to that one project that you have. And it might not be your fault, or you might not be the reason why a project is successful or not, but it still hurts. And that might spiral you, and hit your self-worth with it. Connected to that is very often a fear of financial stability, basically. It's like, will I be able to pay my rent? And so apart from some obvious things, and we might get to some tips and tricks as well in a bit, but it's also like, just make sure that that is not going to be a problem. Be careful. You have to be a bit more, I don't really like the word, but resilient, and have a backup, right? Plan for that. It will not be consistent planning and consistent bookings throughout the year. You're going to have high seasons and you're going to have low seasons, those kind of things. Working on by yourself sometimes could be very lonely. Yeah. So that's a thing. Up to burnout, fully fledged, where you get disconnected from your work and it's not fun anymore. And we want to avoid that so you can keep doing what you're doing for many, many years.
To a point of being lonely, I had over 90 podcast conversation with freelancers, and out of 90 people, only 3 told they don't feel lonely, and because they are like either run communities for freelancers or are members of communities for freelancers. And other 87 people told that they feel this professional loneliness, and they deal with it in really, really different ways. And sometimes it's really hard to deal with it. And also coming back to the topic of self-worth, I feel like self-worth and financial part are interconnected, because I truly believe that it's really hard to get to a good financial part without understanding your self-worth. So how, and also it feels like a chicken egg problem. So how can freelancers kind of believe in themselves?
Well, one easy way is disconnect yourself from the money to begin with. So if you understand that your self-worth or your income and the money you can charge is, and you've mentioned this before as well, is connected to how you appear in front of a client, how good you feel about calling up a price. And we're not talking you're asking for ridiculous prices that are way off outside of market prices, then you might actually have a problem. But if you're somewhere in a normal range of what a market price for your service is, and you have a problem achieving that, or you have a problem asking for that, then that's you, right? You need to work on asking for that. And an easy way to do that is basically just start cheaper than that, right? Just your currency is the positive feedback, and it is the encouragement that you get from clients saying like, yep, this really helped, this really worked, you're giving us value. It's also listening for cues and clues from the client. So I had a meeting the other day, and a client after a meeting, and we've been working together for a long time, but they say it's like, well, this meeting has been very, very valuable and I've learned a lot. You take that and you put it into your self-worth bank, and there's going to be days when you mess up and it's like, oh shit, didn't work. And then you go into your bank and you pull out, it's like, okay, but I'm not a total idiot, I know what I'm doing, I've been told 20 other times I'm okay. And then you just kind of rebalance yourself, but you got to go pick up on the clues and just put them in your bank. So you have some for when you actually mess up. And everybody does.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Show me one person who didn't mess up, and I will say that it's impossible. There is no such people. And talking about lower rates. So some freelancers are really struggling for projects, and even though they have some, let's say, minimum rate 100 euros, and they know that they can work lower, but it really will hurt them. They will still struggle. But still, for example, 80 euros is better than 0, because you still need to live somehow. And when they are struggling in this, they're going for a lower rate, but it's never a good experience. So from your perspective, how should freelancer deal with these situations when they know their minimum rate, but they are still struggling so much in finding persons that they are ready to go for a lower rate? Should they go for a lower rate, or what should they do?
Well, I mean, for me, the first question is like, how do you determine your lower rate, or how do you determine your rate to begin with? And I think, I'm teaching business strategy at university, and one of the exercises we do with the students is, tell me, what's your day rate? And so in this case, we're going very much on a cost base, and you would be surprised what is an acceptable minimum hourly rate, for example, if you only think about covering your cost. And I think we need to split two things. One is what's your day rate and what can you charge? What might you be learning? I mean, I know friends that make a lot of money and they still do pro bono work, right? But that's because they can, because the cause is important to them, because they want to learn, because it expands their network. So in that case, I think there's a level where I'm like, this is my day rate and this is the minimum that I'll set. This has to do with self-worth. Like, I'm not working for $100 a day. I'm just not. Then I'll just sit in the sun, or I'm going to get myself I don't know, I go serve coffee. I'll do something entirely different. To that point, there might be projects, or we might just never tell anyone that we do that. So this is an emergency strategy where I'm like, okay, instead of not paying rent, that's what I'm going to do. But if anybody asks, this is my official rate. So we don't talk about that. The same thing with what kind of project are you working and what's your specialty, basically, like what are you doing? There might be things that you have to do just to get money where somebody says like, well, sure, I don't need this, but could you mow my lawn? It's like, sure, whatever, I'll mow your lawn, but I'm never ever going to talk about it. I'm never going to put it on my website. Mowing lawns is extreme, but say, for example, you want to get into branding. You don't really want to design someone pixels. You don't want to do Photoshop, but yeah, I'll do your Photoshop, whatever. I'm not putting the Photoshop on my website. I'm going to keep branding on the website. You want to have your image and you keep communicating in that area, but yeah, you might be flexible if you really need the money.
And it sounds like you still can do some side projects if you also can learn something from that or build some connections that helps you forward.
Absolutely. We do that all the time. In our case, what we do is we build projects. So we're very user focused. One of the projects that we have is Projektwerkstatt, which is a project management program, basically, or it kind of came from a startup program in the social sector in this case. And so we had a hypothesis that this might be interesting to a different target audience. So I'm going to take a subset of the product that we're delivering, and I'm just, instead of giving them 15 sessions, which would be the full program, I'm going to say it's like, here's 3 sessions for 3 projects, and I'm going to do those for free. And we're prototyping, and the value in this is they give me access to different kinds of projects. We're testing the relationship. It's not just about doing the work, but in this case, I'm very clear from the get-go, also with whoever I'm doing this, what I want to get out of this. So they need to answer questions. I might be recording the training sessions, those kind of things. They might be used for demoing and editing on the website afterwards, those kind of things. So always be aware what is the value that you get out of it. And absolutely, in this case, for example, the value isn't me getting paid for it. It's worth more to me to get access to new kinds of projects, to experiment and see if that works, than it is if you pay me a couple $1,000.
You know, what I also hear in my mind in between the lines is that sometimes it's even good to, if you are working on a lower rate, you are not talking about it, you are not putting it on your website, but still approach it from the way like, what can I learn from here?
Always.
Is there anything I can help this client more? And when you are having this proactive mindset, it can even lead to a better paid opportunity in the future, instead of like, oh yeah, I'm having this low rate, I'm such a loser. Because I feel like it's also a very important point. How do you approach projects?
So the one thing that distinguishes a freelancer in the classic sense from a company is building assets. So it's something that you build that you can reuse, and you charge the normal price for it, but you're actually faster than you originally used to be. This is how you scale. This is how you get better. You move away from time for money to solution for money. And what you can do in this, and this is kind of a mindset shift, if you will, your job as a freelancer to get out of the hamster wheel is build assets, build things that will help you scale faster. So get money for a result rather than for time that you work on a project.
And it's also like, when authors are creating books, so they're selling their books for, I don't know, 29.99. And then if you want to book a session with them, it's like $900 or something like that. So here is the difference. You created asset, you are like putting it out there. People can kind of like get to know you also. And then if you want to work with me, yeah, sure, my time is here, yours, but it's just a different rate. And I also feel like it's all about boundaries. It's all about telling people what I'm ready to do, what I'm not ready to do, and being super honest and explaining why is that way. So I'm curious, from your personal experience, what is one personal boundary or maybe habit you've set in your own business that has helped you to stay protected and especially mentally healthy over the years?
So personally, for me, one thing that I've done is I have defined email for me as an asynchronous medium. So I've been doing this for a long time. So now we have 27 different messengers and everyone's available via all kinds of things that are very synchronous in communication. But when I started off, email was like being used just like a messenger. So people would expect you to respond to an email within 20 minutes. We're like, so those were the BlackBerry days. And I feel the same way with messengers. There's an expectation of instant response, of instant feedback, and I'm just not doing that. I'm refusing instant just because they send me something that they get my attention at the same time. I think that is one boundary that I'm setting, or one habit where I'm like, I will get to all my emails, I'll do it. It's time boxed, but it takes a lot of the stress and the reactionary movement out of it. I'm not chasing that message. It's a bit like dopamine detox, but in everyday work. It's like, oh, there's another YouTube video, another Instagram reel, it's like, it's not like that. It's like, I'm not waiting for people to send me emails. I'm checking my email when I want. I don't have notifications for emails on my phone, or actually on my desk either.
I was thinking that I'm the only one crazy kind of people who are not answering right away, but I feel like there are much more. So I totally get it. And
Yeah.
for someone who wants to build a successful freelance business, what is one small thing to start doing right away and continue doing to get to this success over time?
We've touched on this before, but I think it is building habits. It's building routines, it's setting boundaries. It can be as easy as put X amount of money away for taxes and retirement. That's a rule that you set, whereas like any money that I get in, X% goes to a separate account, or it goes to, maybe mentally in your head, goes somewhere away. It can be something like, keep doing sales. Even if you're stuck in a project and you're busy, don't forget to do sales. It's a thing, it's a habit, it's a continuous thing that you cannot stop doing. Otherwise, you're going to sit there, project's done, and you're going to spend months building a new client before you get new work. And then you're jumping, and then you get stressed again, etc. And I'm touching on a lot of things that I'm also talking in the presentation. It's build a network, get friends, like a support network around you, be it for a client side, build what we call a you build what you want to call what you're calling be a trusted advisor, right? You don't want to be the person that gets you shoes. You don't want to just be the one-trick pony that you do for the client. You want them to call you and like, I have a problem, what do you think? This is how you get to bigger rates as well, but you want a relationship with these people. You want them to trust you. I always say business always happens between people. It doesn't matter if it's in the supermarket at the checkout or if it's on a golf course. It's always between people. And business will go wrong. It's not the question if it goes wrong, it will go wrong. You will mess something up. They have a problem. Their project manager is ill and can't pick up the phone and the project delays. It will go wrong. The question is, how do you deal with each other, and how do you deal with the situation when that happens? Do you have a positive rapport? Are you like, sure, no problem, don't worry about it, I'll cancel the last invoice, or sure, the project takes longer, not a problem. That needs flexibility, and that needs a relationship. So build these relationships with your clients, build them with your peer network, build them when you don't have work, when you've had a bad day, when you had a project breaking apart in front of your face and blowing into your face, those kind of things. And as we mentioned before, build assets. That's also a habit. Always think, what can I make out of this that I can use again? And that can ideally be used on its own, and maybe use it as a lead magnet, those kind of things.
No, it's interesting that you mentioned that. I have a habit asking every person I'm connecting with, is there any challenge that you are dealing with right now? And is there a way you think I can help you? And I'm not telling about working together. I'm not talking about paid work. I'm just really curious because, sometimes you might know someone who might help this person. You may connect and you can save like months of each people times. And the craziest part is, let's imagine out of 100 people who I tell it, only 2 to 5 people really continue this conversation. I'm not telling them, hey, would you like to pay me money? I'm just asking like, what is one challenge you are dealing with? Is there any way I can help you? People are passing by on it. And I'm like, yeah, okay, it's your choice. But out of those 2 to 5 people who answer, we usually have really good conversations. And it's a like first brick of our relationships. And coming back to relationships, I feel like it's super important and something that many freelancers are missing. So if you are listening to this conversation right now, go build relationships and say thank you to Thomas about talking about this afterwards. So go do it.
And you will be surprised. Classic. I've studied design, so at some point I've designed posters and that kind of stuff in my life and advertising. And the classic advertising percentages is 3 to 5% of flyers and mailings that get responses. If you look at your click-through rate on LinkedIn ads, on Facebook ads, those kind of things, we're talking 3 to 5% in reality. So your response rate for a personal contact isn't actually bad, and it's free. You just turn it into a habit, and then it just happens. And if you stack those habits, you do this and then you do something else, and you send 1 email a week or 5, and then you reach out to 3 people on LinkedIn, and all of a sudden you have 3% here, 3% there, 5% there, and at the end of the day, you can't stop having work all the time. So it's build routines, keep doing things, and good things will come to you.
Exactly. And Thomas, I still have so many questions and I really wish to have the sky is the limit, but time is the limit. So the final question, what is your quick take on the freelance economy and how it will develop in the near future?
I think we're moving into a very interesting time right now. I think on the one hand, we will see, or we are seeing a lot of companies that are opening up to more freelancers. So there's more opportunities. On the other hand, I'm observing something really interesting right now, and that is that a lot of senior experts are being let go. So companies aren't happy about paying 150 or 200,000 euro salaries anymore, which means we are seeing a lot of these experts come into the market on LinkedIn, for example, as senior experts, freelancers right now. So the competition increases a lot right now with these people. This will balance out. I've been doing this for 20 years, so I'm not worried about it. But if I can imagine that if you're new to this market, you are like overwhelmed by the amount of people that are selling you social selling and they're selling you consultancy. Like there's so much competition. I think it is a thing. But if you're consistent, if you've been doing this for a while, if you do your homework, if you build your habits, just keep doing it, stick with it. Stay in your niche, do your thing, talk to your clients, you'll be fine.
What would you say to your friend if they asked you whether they should go to the Freelance Unlocked?
I think they should absolutely go. This is not just for fun. I'm joining with a friend, so you should absolutely see Dina's talk on the 15th at 11:10, and you should absolutely see my talk. And otherwise, go connect with me if you have questions before and after. And I'm happy to meet you there, happy to connect, happy to share what we have. I think it's a great time for everyone.
And what is the best way to connect with you even before the conference?
Ideally, my medium of choice is LinkedIn, actually. And yeah, just reach out if you have questions, if you want to get in touch, if you want to use some of our tools, want to use some of our resources, absolutely go for it. Reach out.
Thomas, thank you so much for having such a deep and valuable conversation even before the conference, even before the speech. And I can't wait to meet you and learn even more from you very soon in person.
Thank you so much, Yuri.
And for those who listen, I hope you learn from Thomas's experience already and say thank you to him in real life at the Freelance Unlocked Conference on May 14th, 15th, 2025 in Berlin. So go to freelanceunlocked.com, grab your ticket and meet you there.